Okay, good afternoon all. Hope everyone is well. Jan, how you doing, buddy? Karina, good morning to you. So I do apologise if I sound a bit rough today. I'm just full of cold at the moment. Doing it round, they're doing the rounds. I've got to say, since I started working from home, I haven't been ill for over a year. But I went to a party over the weekend and it seems like I picked something up. So whether it's to do with that or not, I don't know. So, okay, so we had some news, some PPI news, which created a bit of a spike, nothing more. So we've had two legs up, but we started off ranging, I think, at the moment. So market opens in about a minute and a half. And I think if we look back over the last sort of 5 or 6 days, we're more or less just going sideways. We go up for a bit, we come down for a bit. So nothing more glamorous than that. Let me just have a quick look on the daily. It does look like we are ranging. Let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, this is the daily. So, I mean, really, since about here, when was this? November, we're more or less just ranging. We had this push up and we've had like a few attempts to go lower. So it does, you know, if I was to bet which way we're going to go, it will be to take these levels out here and eventually push up. Whether that will happen now or in due course or not, I don't know. But we have got a leg up there with a break and it looks like we've had 3 attempts to go low. We have broken above this bullish bar. And it's still, at the moment, the last few days, price is holding above that EMA. So you kind of think it's got more chance of going up, but that's not really going to help us. Tony, yeah, it more or less is, mate, at the moment. So let's get that back on the 2000. So market is open. So not a huge amount of volume overnight. So let's see how we got on today anyway. Been a bit of a dry couple of days for me. Now, reference this. So I did get approved for one of my payments yesterday, and it turned out actually that I hadn't applied for my second one for some reason. I hadn't ticked the box or something, I don't know. So I've applied for it again. So the other one was quick, and it's been paid as well. Literally in one day, within 24 hours, it was approved and paid. So the other one, I traded it exactly the same, so I don't foresee anything. So there's just another $850 off one account. Excuse me a sec. Now I am waiting for a parcel to come. Just got some new Hunter Wellies on the way. And other ones are well and truly knackered. So I think he's 2 stops away, so I might have to nip off just for a second. So we've had 2 legs up, and we've had a little bit of sideways here, so we're breaking out. Whether this is going to continue up to this area in turn or whether this is going to fail and come down, I don't know at the moment. We'll see how we get on. So overnight highs, the payment latch, you are going to empty their bank. Yeah, I wouldn't have any fears of me emptying the bank. I'm just taking little bits. I mean, I could kind of let the accounts grow a little bit and maybe take a bit more, but I don't, you know, rather than taking, you know, maybe 2,000 or 3,000, say 1,000, a couple of thousand every month, I'd rather have 1,000 twice a month, something like that. But all my plan really is for this year is just to try and get something every month or as close to as I can and just get a regular wage coming in. And then I can sort of reassess and then figure out, you know, whether I want to. But what I think I'd like to do with these 10 or 11 accounts I've got is try and use these to get a monthly wage and then maybe then grow some more and just allow those to grow into, you know, 5,000, 8,000, whatever. Just so, you know, I've got some extra sort of capital sort of set there. So overnight highs up here. We've pushed up. We've had a bearish bar, which triggered, usually in a lot of cases, this first one I expect to trigger and then get stopped out. But at the moment, it hasn't managed to. So whether this is enough to come down, I'm not too sure. I wouldn't be shocked if another bearish bar trigger and we push up. Yeah, it's just nice to start getting something a bit more regularly. I mean, I had 22,000 last year, so I'm on. It was a rocky road. I had months, 2 or 3 months where I had nothing, and then I had 4,000. So it was a bit of an unscripted year last year. So I just want some sort of more stability and just some sort of regular payments. So there's a couple of bearish bars trapped here. Is this going to push up? Possibly. Who knows? I mean, they talk about consistency, don't they? Consistent payouts, and I think that's more important. So I'm just going to take that to the bottom there and bring this down a little bit. And that may fit a bit better. I mean, we had a couple of legs up overnight and then this big drop. So whether this is a channel moving up, it's a bit early. So we've got a little range in, a breakout. Now, most breakouts fail. I don't know whether I'd want to get into a short there at the moment. Let me just see if I can open one. My account should be good.
Order submitted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, one of them I'm not trading at the moment because of this payout.
Order cancelled.
So there is a lower high there, but it is a bit congested. So you never quite know whether it's going to trigger that and push up and clear these highs. So it's a bit early, I think. It is a bit congested. You've got to pay attention to that. If it had been a failure, I may have been interested, but it's a bit early yet. Because if this is a channel, it may not come down much further before it pushes up. So, So there is now a second entry long. It's an inside bar. I can't see many traders trapped there. But what I will say is there's likely to be some stops around this area. So is there a chance of this coming down? I think, excuse me a sec. I've just got this parcel I've got to sign for. I'll be about 1 minute. Sorry about that. Okay. So there is the failure there. But it's a bit too early, I think. I don't think it will be a terrible trade. But I'm just going to sit tight at the moment. I think it looks better on this chart at the moment. It is working, I think. It's like to clean this area out. It's working quite well. Now I go for 12 ticks, so I don't think we're far away there. 2.5. Mine's got to hit. It would have to hit that, which I think is probably likely. It's bounced off it, so that may have, yeah, okay, so it would have worked. I don't think it was a terrible trade. Was a failure. I always prefer it though when it's trapping a bull bar there, second entry long, because it gives it that little bit more momentum. But there's going to be stops here, so I don't think that was a terrible trade. It had a doji, so I skipped it. Yeah, so a few people missed that one. F-Sen, how you doing? Unboxing video. Yeah, it's just a pair of wellies, actually. Just to take the dogs out a little bit, so you get a bit mucked up this time of year. So now, this is someone took it. Did anybody else take it? No, I don't think many took it. A few said they weren't crazy about it. So you don't know it's going to do that. There's a possibility of a channel, so it could come down a bit and bounce, but it is annoying when you see that. Trouble is, I'd have had 3 points, but look at that. It's about, what, 12 points straight down pretty quickly, so there you go. That's the trouble. You never know it's going to do that. So, let's remove that at the moment. Just pretty much looking rangy, I think, now. Let's spin that. You caught the fail second entry long, yeah. I ummed and ahed about it. It looked better on my other chart, but it was a doji on my other chart, which I don't really, in fact, it was doji, which I don't really consider a massive alarm bell. If the context is looking right. But I decided to leave it anyway, just in case, because there's probably going to be quite a lot of support along here. There may be some longs here, so it might just hold it. But there you go. So we got a channel down here. If we can get 2 legs up here, I'd expect maybe another leg. So it would be nice just for once to get a decent second entry off this, because so many times it just breaks and pushes down. So overnight here, which we've pushed up and bounced off. So let's just get an order ready, because it'd be a shame to miss one. It's got to push a bit higher, really, which if it breaks above there, it may do. What's the ATR like? 3.2. So there is a bullish bar there, and there is a higher low trapped. It is more bearish on my other chart, but it's just too far from the EMA. I mean, it may trigger and work, but it does make it a lot more risky. And I don't want to take that as too far, so. I'm just going to turn this off. I think I know it is. Stacking up a bit now, so which is not a bad thing. I don't mind it going sideways, because then you get a fell breakout, which is a leg up sideways and a leg. So I don't mind it going a bit sideways. Nick, Mac Jr. with the phone interrupts. I think I know it is. It'll just be to make an appointment. Yeah. How you doing, Nick? You all right, buddy? Okay, leg and a leg. Now, let's see what happens here. See if we get some sort of reaction here. Maybe it's testing this area. We'll see. Doing good. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Oh, Dan took that one. Took the failure. It was a better bar on my other chart. Not so good here, but there is going to be some support there. So if it does manage to get down there and kick out some of them stops, that's probably why it had a bit of decent momentum. Excuse me a sec. Okay, so what I will
Order
say
canceled.
is there is, I had that initially, so possible overshoot, which is maybe causing this. I don't know. Leg and a leg, bearish bar here. Let's see what happens here. I don't think there's a bigger channel. It's possible. It's possible. But it's a bit early, really. I'm just using it as a range. Could that be a wider channel? Be correct. It's possible, mate. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I had it like that initially, so it may be trying to retest the top. It's hard to say, really, because we bounced here, which was kind of close to the top of the channel anyway, but then it was also into a bit of, overnight highs. So it's hard to say at the moment. It just may be trying, having an attempt to go higher. We had this kind of maybe a channel, a bit of an overshoot, and obviously sometimes, more like yeah, I mean, I've got it as a range at the moment with a possibility pushing to new highs, but sometimes depends how definitive it is when it falls from the top. We had kind of a channel with a bit of an overshoot, and in some cases we'll get a deeper correction or a pullback or a try of a reversal. So it's hard to know. It just may make a couple of attempts to push up before it continues down towards the bottoms of the range. But it's typical lately. It's just not super clear. Some days very clear, other days and a lot like recently, it's not making a lot of sense. Just sometimes it does that, and that's really when you just got to sort of lean on your patience and not try and sometimes you go 2 or 3 days without a trade, and it can pull at that patience lever a little bit. And sometimes when you see a half-hearted trade, the tendency is to jump on it quick without thinking so much. I'm guilty of that myself. So yeah, it's just a matter of sitting and waiting. And then when you see that trade, the trouble is, the longer you go without a trade, the more when you see one, you kind of question it. Am I seeing it right? Am I getting in too quick? A few people took that as the failure, which I don't think was terrible. It didn't look fantastic on this chart. My other one, it did look much better. It closed below. But I see a lot of support around here. See, there may be a lot of longs here. So is it going to tick? Am I missing it? Because it's still a little bit choppy. So, the longer you go without a trade, you start to question yourself. And that's the problem. If you're taking trades daily, you're kind of in the zone, aren't you? But then all of a sudden, when you don't get one for a while and something jumps out of the blue, a nice talk on Wednesday. Yeah, I did watch that. In fact, I was one of the unfortunate one that was trying to work out what he was saying last night before we redid it. It was Tuesday, yeah. He made a video last night. First one he put out, I think I watched about 10 minutes of it trying to work out what he was saying. I think he updated did he say he updated the drivers for his headphones, his wireless headphones, and never rebooted it. So, first one was quiet, actually. I did feel sorry for him because it was about 25 minutes long. So, I mean, that's the thing about Mac. I don't know whether I'd have just thought, sod it tonight, let's just forget it. I ain't doing another 25 minutes, but he did it. So fair dues to him. So, now, if you keep this tight, you may argue there's a little overshoot there. So, but a lot of this is kind of nitpicking, isn't it? What ifs? You really don't know. I mean, that is you know, a fair quick move down, isn't it? 3 big bear bars in a row, which could mean it's not an overshoot and it is trying to push up. But it is really, it's just a bit unclear, really. So you just have to kind of let this work itself out and see if you can find some direction. But I did watch his video, the talk he gave about was now. Well, he's been in the club in bed for about 2 hours early afternoon, feeling rotten, but take out overnight. Yeah, it got close to it, didn't it? It was kind of a tick. Well, it was a tick away from the body, wasn't it? So let's just assume that's, I mean, it's hard to know. We've pushed up there, we've hit a level and dropped straight below the EMA. So, you know, I think you're thinking now, maybe this is just a bit of a pullback, maybe testing some of this area. You know, I mean, my gut feeling would be, you know, down towards this area, but you just never know, do you? Nothing you can do here, really. I don't think there's any type of a bigger channel where we've had a break. It's a little bit... no, it's not really, is it? I'll be scraping the bottom of the barrel a little bit there. See, you really need to wait for it to be clear, because it's very easy to kind of make something up. Sometimes your mind, as a, you know, when it's looking for trades, when you're looking for money, your mind as a way of playing tricks on you. Okay, there's an overshoot, so we're definitely coming down. Let's take a second entry short here. But it's just unclear, really. So, in my opinion, you just can't trade this at the moment because you don't know whether it's going to push up for overnight highs or push up, you know, to break the top of this because there's a possible channel, or you don't know whether there's an overshoot and it may come down. You really don't know at the moment. It is kind of in the middle of this. It could do either, really. And we're kind of in the business of trading, aren't we? Not so much gambling, so that would be a pure punt, really. I mean, just looking at the overall picture, there seems to be an area here which kind of needs sort of filling, for want of a better word. So that may indicate it's coming down, but I really don't know. So, channel down. There could possibly be 2 legs up here. And it may come down, but it's not super clear. I mean, you could argue there's a failed second entry short here. There's going to be traders in there, isn't there? Whether they're right or not, I don't know, but see, that's why you don't trade this. My gut instinct would have been this would have been come down. We got a channel in a couple of attempts. There's a bull bar trap there. So my gut feeling is this is likely to come down below this area here. But as I'm thinking that, it's trying to push up. So it just goes to show, really, doesn't it? It's more of a, you know, picking a direction here is more in the way of a guessing game than obvious. You know, than having clear proof. So I always try and think as well, if I took that long, would I be confident? The answer is no. Because we've had this move down, but then, is this channel? Looks like a channel. Is it overshoot? Could be. So just assuming this is going to push up is something I'm not comfortable with doing. Yeah, see, Dan's put that as a complete downtrend, but he has just said he's not sure about it. Yeah. Me neither. Fuck, let's get rid of it. So, at the moment, there is a high, lower, a failure, whatever you want to call it, but it is holding at the moment. So yeah, I mean, I've got it like that. It could be a bigger channel. I don't know the easy answer. Let's take a higher low here. I mean, it is trying to push up, isn't it? Is it a leg? A little bit of a bounce here and then a leg. Yeah, it's kind of looking like that, isn't it? Maybe this is a break from a channel and 2 pushes to a new high. That actually kind of makes a little sense, doesn't it? So we've got a channel up there with a break. Push above the EMA with a little bull pull back in a second leg. I mean, whether that is a channel or not, I don't know. Could be, it could not. It may be irrelevant. I think overall it's probably in my eyes at the moment, but we did have a break and we couldn't get much below that midline. So a couple of bounces, is that indicating it's going up? Who knows? So if it is a break, 2 pushes to a new high, that'll take us above overnight highs. Excuse me a sec. Sam, good morning, pal. How you doing? The video Mac did yesterday, did he take those trades? Well, he did talk a couple of days before. He takes 1 to 2 trades a day. Now, bearing in mind, obviously, Mac's very experienced at this. He's been trading this way for 25, 26, 28 years plus. So he knows what he's doing, really. You know, you'd be a pretty good trader after those many years doing the same thing. So he's very capable, isn't he? And he takes 1 to 2 trades a day. So, you know, based on that, the rest of us haven't got a hope in hell. No wonder some days. You still study charts or just trade? No, I always look at my chart at the end of the day. I always go back over my chart, always, and then see what I missed, what I did right and wrong, how many channels. And I usually watch Max 9 days out of 10, 8-9 days out of 10, I watch Max. I always look at Dan's chart. I always look at Marco's chart. Jokes, anybody else who posts their chart. And if Thomas Wade, like he did last night, I watched it this morning. I always kind of want other people's opinions, what they saw that maybe I didn't. But I I think it's useful, isn't it? But what I will say is, as you trade, and you know, I have access now to Dan's. I've got Dan's forum in front of me, and so I can see what other people took, other people's trades. So I am checking this as I go along. You know, I know if I've missed something, or I know if I've missed a channel. So I am kind of rerunning continuously over, you know, what's happened in the past. I think that'll probably be enough, but I always look at my chart later. Usually in the evening, I'll come back and I'll get my chart up, and I'll get Marco's or Dan's up, and I'll just compare. What did I miss? What did they see? But you know, even just sort of, you're glued to this chart the day. You know what you did right and wrong most of the time. So, you know, you don't have to go back. Max suggests you study your chart. I don't think it's a bad idea. But I think as you get more and more experience, you know, but as I say, I'm studying mine as I go along as well, because I have access to other people's charts. So, you know, you kind of do what you can do. But at the end of the day, if you sit here, you know, 3, 4, 5 hours every single day, you can't help but improve. It's a physical impossibility. You can't get a better trader. That's how traders come out with all these strategies, by sitting in front of the charts and watching what they do and identifying, you know, patterns about how price reacts to certain levels. And, you know, it doesn't take long to work out why. You know, we're kind of studying human behavior here, aren't we? And if you sit in a room and watch human beings interact, you'll start to understand how they work. So, but yeah, every day I always look at other people's charts. I think the more you surround yourself, when I first started trading, the guy that sort of taught me the basics said to me, surround yourself with people you want to be like. So if you sit in this room and never interact with anybody else and never look at anybody's charts, you're never really going to know what's out there. You always learn better when you do it with other people. So, if this is a channel, it's as good as, really. It's not perfect, but we push up sideways. It's kind of how channels work, and we've had a break. We've had a bounce here. We've pushed up and bounced a little bit higher, so maybe there's the start of a bigger channel further on down the line. Maybe. It's a bit early to tell, really, at the moment, but it doesn't look terrible. If you put it there, so maybe we've come down to this level and come close, and maybe, but you know, either way, I think it's likely this is going for the highs, isn't it? We've got a leg and a leg up that takes us comfortably above this area. Excuse me. Takes us above this area and overnight highs. So, yeah, I think it's as good as a formality. It gets up to this area. Big triple test coming. Yeah, I don't know whether I'd trade it as a triple test, because this to me initially is a range, but when we come from the tops, we usually come down to the bottoms, and we didn't here. So my concern is this doesn't bounce here, or it may temporarily, but my concern is I have to now just give it some space here, because my concern is maybe there is a larger channel, which wouldn't be that terrible. And if we've had this up with a bit of a correction, we could get up for another leg. So this may trap some shorts here, and it may come down. But when it only comes from the top and gets so far down, my concern is then it may break out and continue higher. So I tend to give it a bit of space here. Just to kind of let it do its thing, because I don't know how it's going to react here, whether it's going to push up or whether it's going to hit this level and reject. Could sweep the top first. Yeah, it could. It could do anything. You know, it wouldn't be here to break above this, give us a bearish bar. People go short, it triggers them and pushes up, and we end up having a second, you know, leg and a leg. But I think after you've been doing it a while, you just get to know the areas where you just got to give it some space. And let it kind of work out what it's going to do. But if it breaks above this, then we've more or less made that second leg. Then that's played out, so I need to give it some space and let it sort of give me some direction. So we're a tick off there, bomb. Okay, so if there was any traders there short in the overnights, maybe, I don't know, or whatever they're doing. So that's clearly played out now. Channel 2 pushes to a new high. That's played out. So I need to just give it some space now. So I'd certainly expect to pull back to this area. You know, if there's traders trading that, you like to think they're going to be taking profits there. So you go a little bit stagnant or maybe have a bit of a pullback. But there may well be a larger channel. It's not bad fitting. What's it look like on my other chart? I mean, it is missing this section out. So there's our bit of a pullback, which I think was always going to happen. You know, traders are taking profits up here. So let's see where it goes there. And also, whether this is a channel, it doesn't fit bad with a break, 2 pushes to a new high, so it's played out there anyway. So there's our pullback. Now we need to just let it do its thing, see what it does, see if it comes down to this level and see if it pushes back up. But what concerns me about this being a range is we came from the highs, we didn't get back down to this area. So, you know, big strong buy there. So, you know, is there traders going to be buying this, thinking a move up? It's taking its time, this second PA approval. First one approved in about 3 hours, 4 hours, and was paid about 5 hours after that. But I forgot to put the second one through. Well, I thought I had, but I didn't. So I did that last night. It's taking a bit longer, but that's fine. So, is there a possible second leg up here? Leg and a leg. It's too early, really. This may trap longs. So, I don't know is the answer. I think you should trade when Trump speaks later. Yeah, I'm at college later. My daughter starts college this September. So 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to be at college anyway. So 6:30, the news is later. Trump speaking, so I will be at college late this evening. So, yeah, but the thing is with Trump, he kind of likes to make a statement, doesn't he? And, you know, I don't know what day it was. Was it a day earlier in the week or last week? Thursday, Friday, where market was flying up and down. As he was talking about, you know, with that initial talk about tariffs, which gapped down about, I don't know, was it about 60, 70 points, which was maybe week before last, and then the tariffs were put on hold between Canada and Mexico. Who knows at the moment? So if you took that long thinking this is going higher, triggered your buy tick, stopped you out, you've got to give this some space here. Can't really go short here, I don't see. You've got to give it time to have a couple of legs and then see where it goes. So let's see if a spike. No, let's see if it would fit from there. Let me just remove that a minute. That doesn't look terrible. Touch, touch, touch. It's fitting the nice pretty. I mean, that's quite a strong move there. It's 2 legs back. Still got to give it a bit of space there, I think. if I want to trade this going long, trouble is if this is a channel, we couldn't get to the top there, so so let's just channel break new low. It's just in that area. We've had a push and a pullback and a push. It could just retest these highs and come down, but the fact that we are progressively making higher highs and higher lows, which generally indicate a channel, but it's still a bit early, I think. I wouldn't be going short or long here. Could do either. Could trap some shorts here and push up. I'm really not sure at the moment. Yeah, there's a couple of other traders got this. It is a bit early, I think. I wouldn't treat it as that and trade off the bottom. So we had two legs down. We made one attempt to go higher and couldn't. Second entry short here wouldn't ordinarily look that bad, but the fact that we are making higher highs and higher lows would kind of keep me out of that. Our second entry short, yeah. I'm a bit unsure of what I think at the moment. Yeah, so Dan's got that like that. There's not much difference actually, but let's put it like that. So Dan's got his like that. So channel break new low. So it's definitely got a bullish feel to it. I mean, there's no entry here anyway, really. Excuse me a sec. Oh, sorry. Do I trade NQ? I don't currently. I've tried it a little bit in the past, but I find it easy. I find it harder to sort of manage. To manage my risk on there unless I go for micros, because I tend to go for 2 contracts here. My average risk is around about $300. Now, even trading 1 contract on the NQ, I've had my risk anywhere from $200 to $500. So if I was going to trade it, I'd probably go down to 1,000 tick chart, or maybe a minute or 2 minute, or either if I keep the 2,000, go on to micros. But I've tried trading them together, and I find, because, you know, I trade price action and, you know, they're quite fast moving, I tend to spend more time glued to one than the other. So for me, it didn't feel like it was a benefit trading them both together. But I did say yesterday I am going to start going over the NQ chart and just having a look and just assessing it further, the amount of setups. This is not producing a lot of setups at the moment, but I have traded this now for over 3.5 years, so I kind of like how it works. So 2 legs back. If you like the channel, it's not a bad idea as a trade there. I don't think it was a huge risk. You'd have been in and out of that trade in a couple of seconds by the looks of things. what was the risk? So let's say 2.5 points maximum, tick above, tick below. So that's quite a small risk. ATR is just over 3, so that's about as good as you can get at the moment. But it's hard to know exactly what's going on here because I'm thinking range, but then when I see it struggling to get to the bottom of the range and progressively pushing higher, I'm then thinking, is this going to go higher? But we haven't come to the top of the channel here, and we've come off the bottom, and look now, we're just above the midline and it's already tailing back. So this to me looks like it's losing a bit of momentum. So I'm wondering whether we're going to get 2 legs back. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. So is this a leg up, 2 attempts to go lower and we push up again? I don't know. I just don't like the fat where it's gone there. Not full of much I took. I look at the ES 2000 tick chart for setups and take my trades at NQ 1 minute. Yeah. I've looked at the 1 minute and 2 minute. You know, so I generally trade this from around about 2:30 UK time to around about 5:36, which is about 3.5 hours. So, you know, there's always the option I could come back for an hour or an hour and a half later in the evening and maybe just trade one of my P accounts and you know, and have a look. But at the end of the day, if I'm not getting many setups here, you've got to put more hours in. It's a simple fact. And I don't get a lot of setups at the moment. Now, you know, trading for 3 contracts, if I wait for good, you know, my win rate at the moment on this, it's easy to tell my win rate at the moment. My win rate at the moment is 86%. So it's good at the moment, and I'm happy with that. But I really still need to be, in an ideal world, getting a couple of trades in a week, or a couple of clear winners in a week. Trading for 3 points, that's $600 a week over 4 weeks. It's $2,600 in Canada a month. You take a couple of losses off that, it's a decent amount of money. So if I'm getting 2 trades a week or close to it, I'm quite happy with this. But it certainly wouldn't hurt. You never know. Sorry, just full of cold at the moment. That's cold. Oh. And Q is way more volatile. Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, if I take a trade here, I just know what my risk is. But I found when I have traded on there, on the NQ, my risk can fluctuate so much, even at one contract, which is half of what I trade here. So it does kind of make me a bit nervous. Sometimes it'll move really quick. So I'm used to this. I know it works. I've been trading this now for a while. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about this. I do 2 trades every 10 minutes. If I let myself, I go and tilt. Yeah. You know, I used to take a lot of trades, and I've just found the less trades I take generally, the better I do. So I think with trading, certainly with my style of trading, less is more. When I started, it was kind of impossible not to want to take a trade every 2 minutes. But it's not a bad thing, you know, as long as you're trading on a sim, you're learning. You know, every time you lose a trade, you learn a lot more than every time you win a trade. That Dan guy you talk about, does he just fully scalp out or do runners too? No, he does. He does runners. I know he trades 100 contracts, but I don't know how he divides that up over his runners. So yeah, he scalps out 6 ticks, and he uses a runner. But if you look at his charts, he does actually. He shows you the plot and executions. He shows you. I don't know what I'm showing you. You can't say I haven't taken any trades, but up here, the plot and execution. So he shows you where he gets in and where he gets out and take runners. So yeah, he does. I'm assuming he trades either 20 or 25%. 20 or 25% of his contracts he trades on a runner, I think. But I know Mac talks about. I think Mac trades 25%, so he trades 20 contracts, and he scalps out 15 of them and trades 5 on a runner. Do I trade differently on evals? Yeah, I do. I trade a lot more aggressively on evals. You know, I think it's human nature. The more you risk, the more care you take. It's, you know, if you're driving down the road in an old Ford, or you're driving, you know, worth $1,000, or you're driving down the road in a car worth $100,000, you're gonna drive it differently. So I definitely trade more aggressively. Aggressive on what way? I go for more contracts. And I trade on more of a gut feeling. So if I was going to take, a higher low here, but it wasn't a fantastic signal bar, if the context is right on an evaluation, I would go long, because so many times I'll say it looks to me like this is going to happen, and it does, but we didn't get an entry. So that's kind of how I trade it, more on sort of gut feeling and instinct. And I think I have a sort of a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 ratio. So for every 3, I'll pass 1. But, you know, I tend to want to pass them in a day because I like to sort of get on to. But my plan for this month is not to spend a penny. Now, I've spent about $250 at the beginning of the month, but I haven't spent anything now for the last week or so, and I've got these 11 PAs at the moment, and I just want to start to dictate to myself what I'm going to do and stick at it. There's been so much variation in my trading. 1 minute I'll trade, you know, one or more of my PAs slightly different, and it just doesn't work. So I've just got to keep it simple. Just trade all my PAs together. If the trade's got to be good enough to trade them all or not at all. And that's kind of how I want it as well. I want to sort of reel back how much I spend, and just think more in a line of profits. And I can add to these, you know, as and when. I do 3 contracts, 2 at 4 ticks, target 1 at a runner. I usually 5 contracts, take 4 off 1 tick. Ginger at the moment, preparing for a game. Yeah, there's so many different ways. I was watching, I watched that Nico Wrench guy, Wrench Capital. I watch him and I can't even work out what the hell he's doing. He's taking tiny bits off it. See, I consider myself a scalper, but I'm nowhere near a scalper compared to that guy. You know, he adds to it and takes bits off. I wouldn't know where to start with that. I call myself a scalper because my trades are kind of anywhere between a couple of seconds and a minute or so, which I would generally consider, you know, scalping more, you know, I consider more day trading once you start to get above the 5-minute, 15-minute type. But he takes, as it's going up, he's taking bits off. I can't even work out what he's doing sometimes. There's so many different ways to trade, isn't there? So my initial thoughts were this is a range. Now I'm thinking this looks more like a channel. We had that big drop overnight, and from then on it's progressively worked higher. So Al Brooks trades, scalp all day, dozens of trades, 5-minute bars. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's so many different ways to trade, isn't there? There really is. There's so many different ways to trade. And I think we kind of start off a certain way, and then we kind of find our own way of doing things. And I don't think you should fight that. From me as a price action trader, I've started off really learning from Mac, and that is the way I trade. But as you kind of develop, you'll add things to it. You'll add extra setups to it. If you sit here every day and you see something happening again and again, at some point you're going to ask yourself the question, why don't I take those trades if I can see them working 8-9 times out of 10? And I think you can't sit in front of these charts every day and not get a better understanding of what goes on. We see this all the time. We push up, we go sideways, and whenever we're sideways, I say the same thing. Usually we get like a mirror image, and 9 times out of 10 it pushes up. So would it be an option then to drop an order in there and put a stop down here and wait for that second leg? So at some point, you change and develop, and you adapt, and I think that's every sort of trader really does that over time. You always, I think, keep the basics, but then you just sort of adapt, and markets are always changing, I think. Whether it's down to new technology, you hear lots of things about algorithms trading now, and they're being sort of managed by traders. I don't know if that's the case. These algorithms are constantly going to be updated and improved, aren't they? So, we kind of work along with them. Now, when I started trading this style 3.5 years ago, there seemed to be a lot more setups around, but was that just the remnants of COVID, or is it anything to do with how things change? And then it'll be like this for a while. All of a sudden you'll get a couple of 2 or 3 really good trades in close succession, and you might get that over a couple of days, and you kind of forget about times when you're sat here taking nothing. Day chart looks crazy, yeah. For the last sort of, month, 6 weeks, we've been kind of chopping sideways, haven't we? Now, obviously, this, you compare this to a daily, and they're completely different. There's lots of places where you could potentially trade from here. There's plenty enough movement to take trades. It's just finding setups which follow your particular style of trading. So I think you change. I know Max says things haven't changed. I think they probably have. He just, because he does it every day, think you don't notice things when they happen slowly. So, fail breakout here. Would you go long? I don't think it'd be terrible. Just going to get an order ready. See how it reacts here. So channel break new high. So technically that's played out. But is there something larger? It's hard to know, really. So I'm sitting tight here at the minute.
Order
I think
canceled.
This is going to come down initially. So let's see what happens when it reacts to these areas here. So this kind of area here wouldn't be a bad channel with a break and a new low in this cross section here of previous support, and the bottom of this wouldn't be a terrible place to look for an entry. Yeah, the trouble is, generally the picture is up, so I tend to avoid any type of a short trade there. I can't get into a long here at the minute because we've got a channel with a break and a new extreme. So is it going to continue up, or is it going to trap longs here and then come down for a second leg? I've got no idea really. I don't know, I find trades like this are risky, I do, especially when we've just come out of a little short-term trend channel. Now, there's also a bit of a range, and a lot of times it'll fail, but this to me is a little channel down. Now, when we get that, I expect a break and a new extreme. So I think these bars are vulnerable here. Now, it just depends how strong this up move is, whether it continues up from there or whether that indeed comes down. But it's just a little bit unclear what's going to happen here. Yeah, Dan's just said kind of in the middle of nowhere. It is really. You've got to let it hit these certain areas of, the key entry point, and the way this is looking, they're kind of down here really. So my feeling is these bars here are vulnerable. Buying here under that EMA like that for me kind of doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, I think if I took a trade there, would I be comfortable? And the answer is no. I'd say if this is going to work, I'm going to be lucky, because my gut feeling is this is going to come down below there, which will kind of give us two legs down and get us to this area where we can start to, pick up where this thing, sort of finishes and carries on. And it's clearly struggling there. But then, they say most breakouts fail and push up, but this isn't so much. I've got it as a bit of a congestion, but it's more like a break and a new high and a little bit uncertainty. Then we come down, so it may work, continue higher. But my gut feeling is, if I was in any of those bars there, I'd be concerned. The long signal bar was kind of neutral. Yeah, it's. Dan said it perfect. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere here, and when we're in the middle of nowhere, I think price tends to go towards liquidity around here, and I'd expect some down here. So we'll see. I mean, it could end up here in 5 minutes, but kind of doesn't make sense. I would like to see a leg and a leg. But looks like it's holding. My gut feeling is this just drops. I wouldn't be comfortable trading in this area at the moment. See, that's what I mean. You never quite know. It's hard trading this when it's kind of floating around that midline, because you never know whether it's going to come down to this side of it or stay above the top part of it. I'd like to have 2 legs down before I wanted to go long. This is what I'm looking for. I kind of hoped this was going to happen before we push that little bit higher, but we've got 2 little legs there. So is this the bit that's going to flush down and clean some of this out? So kind of got that push up there, and then the pull back, and then the move from there. So that would take that measured leg kind of up there. So I'm looking for this little flush down. Perfect measured move. See, I've got it. After that, those initial 2 legs up, or 3 legs, whatever you want to call them, it's kind of a leg and a leg, isn't it? So I've put that as 1 leg, and then we get that sort of big drop back, and from then on we've been pushing up. So I've got that up here at the moment. It's just hard to trade when it's like this. Excuse me a sec. Okay, a little double top there. Let's see what happens here. Oh, so Max got that chart anyway. So Dan posted Max chart up there. So he's got the same as that. So that's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, we're working in this area, aren't we? So I've got that as my measured move. That's a little bit. A couple of ticks off it. Okay, measured move. Right to the tick. Woof, straight above it as well. Okay, so that's sorted now. It's definitely fitting really nice, unfortunately. So we'll mark that one. Quite possibly a green bar, I think. He'd say that's off the key entry point. I'll be more interested in a high or low, but at the moment we're looking at this area. But the fact that we only got so far down here is telling me it's probably not ranging, as in it's going to come down there. It's more that it's moving up, and that's kind of the story, isn't it, at the moment? So let's have a quick squint at the daily. See if that's any clearer now we've had this move. It's froze. Come on. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, there's definitely a bullish feel of it. Sorry, I didn't realise that. I got this cold. I keep stopping every 5 minutes to blow my nose. So yeah, we're coming to the top of this channel now. So ordinarily when we get up here, you'd think a move back, but we're not far from breaking that all-time highs are, I think, at 6180, which is up here. So we're still a ways away yet. But we have broken the highs for the last previous day comfortably. And then we're up here for the day before that. So we're at the top of the channel. Let's see where things go now. You'd naturally expect it to pull back there. You'd have traders taking profits there, you'd have thought. Yeah, because we're so bullish at the moment, I just can't take a short, really. I'm only really looking for longs. Trouble is, I've tried stuff like this in the past, and just when you think it can't go any higher, guarantee you get in there, it'll trigger you, push up, stop this short out, break higher. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? I just can't. I just don't. It feels unnatural now going short in you know, in a move up. It's just trying to get somewhere, either whether it's here and we stay in this top section, or whether we come down towards the bottom. Tough one, really. I've done this before, shorted these tops when we come to the top and it's triggered me and stopped me out, so I've just given up. Four ES, the way I count it. It's not sure what you mean there, Chad. You might have to be a bit clearer than 4 ES, the way I count it. Oh, you're saying second entry short? You on about here? Yeah, I just can't do shorts in an uptrend. It just feels so unnatural. That's right, you wrote 4 ES. I think it's second entry short, isn't it? Ah, yeah, got you. So let's see where we get down here. So channel break. I'm looking for a new low here. Take out areas of liquidity like this. Be interested to see how far we get down here. I'm not shorting either. Luck of being wrong. Yeah. It's just, you know, although when we get up to these areas, we come back for some reason. Whenever I get into it, it just does the complete opposite. I mean, it's just how it works, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, this is clearly a bullish day for starters, isn't it? We had, you know, we had a couple of legs up, little bit of indecision, then big, strong move down. And when we hit this, we've been moving up ever since. So we are moving up at the moment. Trouble is, just when you think this thing can't get any higher, you'll jump into a short here and it'll push up and end up here somewhere. It's weird how it works. But after a while, you just give up. You know, Yuli and Max say don't counter trend trade. If you took a short here, really, it is counter trend trading because the trend is clearly up. It doesn't mean it won't work on occasion. And, you know, really the only time to... Now, having said that, it is a big range, so under certain circumstances, maybe a short might be possible, but there's just nothing that interests me at the moment. You know, the only time I'll be thinking about shorts today is if we get a break from this, a new extreme, and then we start to get a move in the opposite direction. So there is a second entry long there. Now, there's a bearish bar trap there. Now, the trouble is with this, with going long here, because we're kind of in the middle of these two, I'd expect a leg down and a leg down, somewhere along the lines of that. So I think a long here, just as much as that short, is vulnerable. I wouldn't be surprised if that ticks above and then comes down here for a second leg and kind of gets us around to the area where we can think about maybe if we get an opportunity getting in there. But we've pushed up there, and that's pulled back strong. So I'm guessing it's gonna go a bit lower. But that's a leg down. It is a break and a new low. But I'd want to come down to this area at least, really, before I sort of had any interest in this. Max mid-morning chart didn't have the range, did he not? Yeah, I mean you can really get rid of the range now. In all fairness. When we get that sort of pullback off here, your natural instinct is to think about a range, but yeah, you don't really need it now. It's clearly just in an uptrend, isn't it? Whether it goes from there, I'd put it from there, but it's irrelevant really. We're kind of working that same awful close, taking a second entry long. Yeah. There's a leg down there. I'd expect another leg down, or at least to get down to some kind of support, which I think at the moment, that's about as good a support as we've got, really. Now, the only trouble is when it is such a wide channel like this, there's always a possibility it could come closer to this, but you just got to kind of wait and see. You would have taken a loss, yeah. I mean, that bullish bar didn't trigger, fortunately. But stuff like this, you see it all the time. We get a channel with a break, you get some week-long positions there, they get trapped, and then it comes down for this second leg. It's a great way of learning, though, getting trapped in these, because you really do learn. So that's vulnerable. Trouble is, you know, it depends how you look at this. You could say there's a leg and there's the break, in which case it could come down. So I'm just staying out of this at the moment because there's too many variables. You know, technically, if you keep that tight, we've had a break and a new low, but as I say, this could be more like that. Now, a lot of traders see that and they're jumping in thinking, there we go. And then what happens? Crosses over, comes straight down, stops them out. So you see that. We kind of have a leg with a break and new low, and you see that. And there's going to be traders just jumping in there, isn't there? And then what happens? It crosses over, comes straight down. You got to be so careful here. You can literally get cut to pieces here with the best intentions. It's so hard making money at the moment, I find. Well, not so much hard, but you really got to be patient and really wait for just those one or two trades. You know, I don't know, Dan, he's more experienced than me. He picks more trades than me. He does, you know, no denying that. But what I will say is Dan goes for 6 ticks, I go for 12. So he's got to take twice as much as me, you know, runners aside. So if I take 3 a week, he takes 6 a week. So we're kind of along the same ballpark. But he's more experienced than me. You know, every year you sit in front of these, you'll notice stuff. And I do look at Dan's charts a lot. And, you know, I notice he keeps things very tight. And then when we get a break and a new low, and, you know, he'll pick these areas. So he's definitely a trader that you need to watch, especially if you're a Pats trader. He's very good at it. He really is. And I'm not just saying that. He's really a natural at it. I don't think he's been trading as long as Thomas Wade, but I see Thomas Wade get caught a lot more than I see Dan get caught. And he's very good at reading these charts. So, you know, you've got to find people like that and latch onto them and learn from them. You know, if somebody's good at something, they're on my radar. And he's a nice bloke as well. He's always helped me a lot. Same again, another weak position there. A long trap. This market just picks off these types of trades. And Penguin, yeah, Penguin. You know, I've heard someone talk about Penguin as borderline a genius, and I couldn't think of a better name for him. Another one to watch as well. He goes for bigger moves. That guy can read the chart like the back of his hand. Penguin, yeah. Penguin trades. He's brilliant. He is. He just, you know, sometimes I'll look at my chart and he'll just see these legs, and he's so good. He's another one I watch as well, and I try and implement a certain amount of his processes, and it's very similar to Max, but slightly on a larger scale. Rather than a second entry long, he's looking for more of a second entry long with legs. But yeah, Penguin trades, watch him as well. You know, finding traders that are good at stuff and just learning off them. We're looking at the charts, figuring out what they're doing. So another weak positional trade here. There's no direction here. Market's picking off easy prey like this. Triggers it 1 tick, straight down, stops it out. So we're at this midline now. We've made, depending on where you put that leg to, I'll probably put that measured leg to there, which, funnily enough, is where we are now. Penguin has a background in fast food, does he, burger flipping? It's very good at reading the markets. I think some people are just good at things, aren't they? You know, we all have sort of strengths and weaknesses, and some people are just good at this. Yeah, this is the way life is. Some people are good at things. So now this is an area, measured leg around this midline. We may think about looking for a trade, but it's just, I don't know. I tend to not have to think about counting legs now, or let's get in here. It's just something doesn't look comfortable with the picture. I can't even put my finger off it. We're coming down at an angle, then we come down quick. Doesn't look to me like two nice legs down where I think traders may be thinking about taking longs here. I believe it may be bigger down. Well, it's funny you should say that, because of that, I was just looking at it. So yeah, there's too many areas of uncertainty here. It's not clear. There could be a bigger channel down. It makes more sense on my other chart. But let's see what happens here. I mean, if there's a bigger channel down, I expect bars like this to get chopped up pretty quickly. And if it does continue down, I'll extend that. But it's not it just doesn't excite me thinking about going long here, and that's what I usually think about. We have got a channel with a break, 2 pushes, 2 new low. So, you know, if you're counting purely the setup, it doesn't look terrible, but the picture, the overall context just doesn't interest me. It may work. Sometimes it does. But the more you see these pictures, the more they work, the more you'll start to change the way you react to them. But at the moment, this is just telling me to just sit tight and stay out of here because it's not super clear. Yeah, sometimes the worst trade in the world works. You know, sometimes once in a blue moon, if you shorted that, it would work. It doesn't mean it's a good place for a trade. So if this is a bigger channel down, which it may be, this may now turn. But if it is somewhere along those lines, it may go up. But it's just unclear. So if it's unclear, I just got to stay out of this. Another great signal bar for second entry long. See, I don't think it is. But that's the thing. You kind of got to have your own feel for this, and this just doesn't excite me. And that, I would say, is usually down to experience and something bad happened in the last time the picture looked like this. It doesn't look terrible, but something's telling me just to stay out of this. And you do, you know, wrong side of the email. Yeah, I mean, it may go up. It may well, but something about this, it's a little bit sideways. It's just, no, it's just, it may still go up. You just never know, do you? I mean, one thing I will say is we've made the measured leg and we are sat on that midline, but that's no reason just to jump into a trade. I just don't like the look of this. The whole thing, it's just a bit too congested for me and sideways and just a bit unclear. You know what I mean? Is it like that? Is it? I don't know. But it's got leg down sideways. We get another leg down. I don't know. I don't like any of this. Yeah. The trouble is, just because something works, sometimes that can get you into a bad habit. You know what I mean? So, it's I know it's hard to say. See, all of a sudden we do this, and look at that. That pushes up and gets some rejection there. It broke above that bearish bar there, took out a stop there. So is now this going to come down here? I don't know. It's really in an area and working that just doesn't make me feel comfortable. Until I started trading, I never realised how easy it was to manipulate. Oh, God, yeah. Definitely. You know, what I will say is, you know, they say the market's not against you, it's not personal. I don't know, because inexperienced traders that are taking that, the market just kind of knows where the poor positional trades are, and it takes them out. So I think it doesn't get any more personal. You know what I mean? But, yeah. You know, I mean, you've only got to look at the cryptocurrency market. There's so much manipulation goes on there, isn't there? Big whales selling, creates a bit of panic, price goes down, whales get back in. You know, if you've got, you know, big pockets and you can move these markets at least enough to create, you know, that little bit of move to the downside, and, you know, inexperienced traders that aren't aware price doesn't just go up. You know, some people get into crypto and they think, why isn't it going up? You know, markets never just go up. They go up, they come down, they go up, they come down. And, you know, creating that, you know, a few whales selling up here, creating that little bit of move down, traders panic, they sell, continues the market down a bit, whales get back in at a cheaper price. There's so much manipulation goes in there. Now, if you are going to go if I was going to go long here, I would prefer a higher low, but it's still sideways there. It's not pushing up strong, it's sideways. So my gut feeling is this is likely to come down below this area here, and my gut is reasonably good. It saves me, it gets me out of trouble more times than I'd have made money. But it is a higher low, and that may be a better indication that price is continuing up, but I just don't like this. The old picture's just looking a bit sketchy to me. But you never know, ultimately. Struggling to go anywhere, which makes it even more dangerous. Yeah. It's just on too much uncertainty. Personally, I will hold off same. It's just, you know, he's got it as a bigger channel. With the break, is that going to come down? He's got it as a bigger channel. So, you know, I have on my other chart, so I've got the best of both worlds. Now, second entry long below the EMA, so I can't take it. So that second entry long there, just because it worked. But, you know, stuff like that is going to get you into trouble more times than it's going to make you money. That's my opinion. Otherwise I'd have taken it. So there's a higher low there that's triggered. So if that comes down below here, my gut feeling it's going to get down. It may not. It may not. It may come down a bit and work up the midline. So on this chart now, I'll be a bit concerned here about me going long. Mind you, it's working towards this. This hasn't triggered yet though. But if you like that, you'd expect a new low. So are we going to get it? No idea. This is just an area you can really only do one thing and just stay out. But that depends how you trade. You know, if you buy here, you put your stop down here and your profits up here, it wouldn't be a bad place to trade. So like it pushes up, it's just hard to tell. The only thing going for that really was the fact that we made a measured move and it was on the midline. But you never know if there's a bigger channel, this thing comes careening down. Some of these trending days when they're in such a wide channel, they're so hard to trade. I think a lot of the times you're better off in a range. I think I take more trades in a range than I do in a channel. Small game. Yeah. The trouble is, you ultimately, you never quite know where it's going to go. See, we got this 2 legs down. We got 2 legs up now. Is that going to pull down now or what? I don't know. Okay, how long have we been going for? So I'm just going to take, what are we going for? An hour 40. So I'm just going to take a quick few-minute break. I'm just going to make myself a drink. I'm just sniffing and snorting here like mad. Copy train today, still pairing an account, almost fixed it. Good on you, mate. That's a good thing. If you care enough about your accounts to go steady with them, that's a good thing. So I'm just going to leave you with that just for a few minutes. I'm going to make a quick drink, and I'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. uh, uh, I tilted the ego, admit. Back to break even, save my account. Family now. It happens, mate. One thing never to do when you do go on tilt is beat yourself up. You're not doing it just to be. You're not doing it just to blow your accounts. You know, it's just a human emotion that you're not fully in control of yet. But it does come in time. I think it's important not to beat yourself up because that just doesn't make things any better. What I try and do is, well, I haven't done it for a bit, but what I should do is just go away and just process it. Just think about what you did and then tell yourself, you know, it's just your normal human response. Let's try and not do it again. Just try and get something positive out of it. Just try and learn something from it. But, you know, it's what happens, but it will get less and less. But if you are struggling and you're blowing accounts, I would definitely consider, if you're trading Ninja Trader, choose Guardian Angel Trader. That kind of forces it not to happen. Doesn't mean you won't blow. It doesn't mean you won't take a stupid trade. It just means if you lock yourself out with one loss, you can't physically do it. I'd like another leg down here, I would. Yeah, you can, mate, yeah. You can, yeah. You can put no DCA. You can select no DCA in. I'd show you, mate, but I can't open it at the moment because I have it locked. Yeah, you can set it so you can lock your stops. So if I put my stop here, I can only move it towards profit and not away. There's loads of things you can do with it. It's really useful. Just takes a lot of that bad decision making out the way. You can, you know, put it. You know, another useful thing is you can have a timeout as well. So after a loss, you can set it, you know, that I can't take a trade for the next 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever. It's useful. It is. You can set trading times so you can't get in at a certain time or out at a certain time. There's loads of things you can do with it. So it's a great bit of software. It really is. Yeah, if you find yourself doing things sort of maybe a little bit impulsively, use it. It's, you know, they're forever adding new bits to it. I think it's a good investment. It's about £300. I think it's, what is it, €349 for any of you Europeans. And I think it's $399, but it's a great bit of software. So leg and a leg, retest of this at a pullback. So I'm kind of looking for a leg and a leg. Let's see. Where's overnight highs? Oh, we're way past that now. So let's have a look here. 2 attempts to go lower. It's hard to say here. Yeah, it's got some really useful tools. It is running up this midline here. You know, you can put monetary targets. So if you say maximum $500 loss, it would automatically cut you out of a trade. So there's loads of things it can do. So you can set the amount of contracts as well. I have mine set to 2 contracts. So if I'm in a trade with 2 contracts, I hit the buy button, it won't let me buy another. So if I open an order down here, if I open another order, it won't let me. My maximum is 2 contracts, so it won't let me
cancelled.
Open another. Just disconnecting and reconnecting. Sometimes it leaves an order open. You sound all good. Still there, bud. I don't feel terrible at the moment. I did have one of those Beecham's Lemons things, but no, I don't feel terrible. Just trying to eat well. I'm munching on some walnuts at the moment. So, a little channel down here with a break. Are we going to get a second leg down to this area? I'd like to see 2 proper attempts. Good for the brain. Yeah, I eat pretty well at the moment. Tend to eat lots of those. Walnuts. Well, I say lots. I have a few every day. Walnuts, almonds, cashews, stuff like that. We have quite a lot of smoothies in our house as well. We bought one of those Vitamix blenders about 5 years ago, so they're a little spendy though, yeah, they can be. So we tend to have lots of smoothies in it. Well, we tend to have 2 or 3 smoothies a week, which we fill full of spinach and stuff like that. Blueberries. I eat tons of blueberries, I do. One of my favourite snacks in the evening are a big bowl of blueberries with some fat-free yoghurt, a little bit of sweetener. Lovely that is all mushed together. Used to be a chef, I did, yeah. Trouble is, because I work so hard, I don't have the time. No, I don't tend to go all out. One thing I do make a lot of is bread. Specifically sourdough. I find making bread really therapeutic, especially if you're a trader. So I make sourdough most days. That's popular in our house. Do you know what? When I was 19, I went out with a girl. First girl I ever loved. And she was went to work in a hotel as like a placement because she was at college, and she left me for a chef. So I thought I'll sign up to be a chef. I'll go to college and I'll try and win her back. And I did. Well, I didn't win her back, but I became a chef and I absolutely loved it. So it's weird, but I did that for about 12, 15 years, but I know, yeah, things you do for love, eh? I worked in some nice places. In fact, before I met my wife now, I was about to go to the Antarctic to work on a British survey team as a chef. A friend of mine did it. I'd had a couple of interviews and I got the job, and I was due to get out to London to get measured out for my winter clothing. And I met my wife, now wife, my only wife. So, you know, a couple of months later, and I wouldn't be here. But yeah, chef is kind of one of those jobs I've always really loved. I've never felt like I'm at work. The trouble is, I don't know how it's like other parts of the world, but it's very poorly paid. You work stupid hours. And it's just, the money's crap. But it was one of the jobs I always enjoyed and never kind of felt, you know, some jobs you just don't feel like you're at work. I just love sort of, and I've always enjoyed food and been around food, but yeah. It all came from love. Yeah. Thorn a ribeye. I like ribeyes, actually. Not been so popular in the UK up until recent years. It's all mainly sort of rump and sirloin, but you get lots of ribeyes now. I prefer ribeye. A lot more tastier. But one of the things I enjoy cooking more than anything is paella. I'm a massive paella fan. Yeah. I mean, I even go as far as to ordering my paella rice and my paprika from a place in Spain. I have it delivered. So I make my own chicken stock. I absolutely love paellas. Not fish paellas, just a meat paellas. You ran a restaurant, did you really? Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I've worked in a few nice restaurants, but I worked in an old castle that's a hotel, place called Rounton Castle in Shropshire. That was a 4-star hotel, and that was absolutely beautiful. You know, it was about, I don't know, 500-600 years old, something like that. Absolutely stunning. But there's just no money in it. It's just poorly paid. You work a lot of hours. I recently started buying bags of shelled nuts. Nothing better than cracking them up. Yeah. So I used to like about Christmas, you buy all your nuts in shells and you crack them open. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It is nice. But we eat lots of, I used to do lots of sprouted seeds, and I went for a period about 10 years of growing microgreens and stuff like that. You know, growing pea greens and sunflower greens and, you know, wheat grass and all that type of stuff. And you trading full time now or just working? No, I trade full time now. How you doing, Dan? I trade full time now. I work my ass off for 3.5 hours. Yeah, it's nice. It's a great job. I enjoy it now. Because I've more or less controlled. I can more or less control all that revenge trade now. I do have God Angel Trader, which just covers me anyway. I take a loss and I'm done for the day, but my patience is good now, and I can sit kind of through stuff. Now Bouncy is going to be interesting. 2 clear legs back, so we've got this push up, 2 clear legs back, and it's a channel with a break. 1, 2 pushes, 2 a new low. So we can get a bullish bar here. I may look for a higher low. We'll have to see. Lot of our so restaurants and stuff like that and hotels, you know, I remember working 16 hours once on Christmas Day. It's crazy. You know, everyone else is enjoying yourselves and you're working. But I love my hours now, especially being UK. We don't trade. I get to the chart around about 2 to 2:15. I open everything up. I just check everything and double check. So before that, I'm kind of free to do whatever I want to a degree. Obviously, I do the cooking and so on and so forth, but getting payouts. Yeah, it's nice to get some payouts. That's my plan for this year. I'm not thinking about how much or whatever. I'm just thinking about consistency and just keeping things nice and steady. Hospitality is slavery. Yeah. You do work a lot of hours. Yeah, you do. It is long hours. So I'm looking for some buyers to come in somewhere here. Or if we don't get anything long, maybe another test of it, but it is long hours, yeah, long hours. But I think that's the kind of job you either love or you hate. You've got to love it to, you know, to want to keep doing the hours, but it's just, you don't have a good well, I say you don't have a good social life. You can have a good social life within those circles. So if you're working for a hotel, you know, some people live in, some of the staff live in, so they kind of make their own social life. So we got this move up, 2 attempts to push lower. So that would be like a penguin type of an area. Now, penguin is started jumping in. Now, I'm guessing he would jump in there, put his stop there, and put his profit maybe there. Now, I'm not jumping in here, but I'm guessing 2 attempts to push back. He probably would get in there. He started doing a slightly different trade. A lot of times he'd wait for that push up for the EMA and confirm this is likely to push up these highs and jump in there. But he is trading this a little different lately, so I'm just going to throw that there and just pretend it's him and see what happens. But we have broke below here. But if this is a channel, it could potentially get down to here. So so let's get rid of it anyway. So that looks like a measured leg, which is kind of there. So trouble is, while it's below that EMA, really, to go long there, it needs to sort of get above that EMA, really. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's put that there and a little break. Trouble is, we're very close to this. We've come right off the top, which is interesting. So I'd like to have a channel with a break and a new low. I don't really want to take it there because it may push up, but it may trigger it and come down to this area. So it's a bit early, that, I think. I think I saw Dan mark a trade from there. So, you know, if it looks nice enough, generally I don't do that now. I think the higher lows are a little bit more safer. But in the current climate, sometimes you snooze, you lose. So depends on the size of the risk. If it's a small enough risk and it rejects off here, I may get in. We'll have to see. So channel with a break, whether it's like that or whether it's like that, it doesn't really matter too much. There's a clear break. So let's see if we get any reaction to here. We have made a bit of a double top there, so we could get a break here. So I'm not just going to take a long here willy-nilly. I really want to get above this area. Tombstone bar for a short. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Awesome, man. You know you're not be drunk, can't be having in a bit. So, double trap. Yeah, I'm staying out of anything here at the moment. I want to see how it reacts to this line. Channel break. 2 pushes to a new low. That to me is a weak position. It's triggered. I'd expect that to get stopped out. But ultimately, this is the area I'm interested in. I'd like to see some rejection off here. Follow my dragonfly. Now, depending on how your bars look, that may not look too bad on your chart, but I'm just going to keep things as they were because they touched nice there. Just got to give this a bit of space. Sometimes thinking it's going to take off from here can get you in a bit of trouble. You're jumping along, it pushes up, you think, yeah, sorted. It takes that short stop out, comes down, stops out him, and you're out the game. What hours are you streaming daily? I tend to go up to around about 6 o'clock-ish. So around about 3.5 hours. I have extended my day up until 8:30, so I can come back to the charts. So I can't tonight. I'm taking my daughter up to look around college. But I may start to extend it and come back for an extra hour or an hour 30 from maybe 6:30 UK time onwards. The trouble is, if you're not getting trays, you might have to just put a few more hours in. But generally, my day is up to about 3.5 hours. Still not low enough for me to just buy into this, really. Trouble is, as it gets close to here, our trader's going to be getting in early. I don't know. I think sometimes you get a bit prematurely. It comes down, stops you out, and then gives you a beautiful signal bar to go long. So, channel with a break. Depends how you draw this. It could be like a bit of a spike in a channel. I'm not so sure about that. But we are holding here a little bit, so it may work, but it is kind of 2 legs down, isn't it? I don't want to take a higher low here, because if it is a channel, it could trigger and come down. I'd rather take a higher low more to the side. Trouble is, there is a possibility no, there's something I don't like about this at the moment. See, that higher low there is triggered, isn't it? Is it going to come down and stop that out? If it pushes up, that might be the way up, but there's just something about this I don't like. I'm just a bit unclear. We've not hit that bottom, and just because we've had a move up doesn't necessarily mean it's worth jumping in. It does depend on how you've got here. See, if there's any wicks here, this bottom can move up a little bit, and it may coincide with that. But just look at that higher low now. Look what's happened with that higher low. That higher low is going to get stopped out all day long for me. So what does that mean? Is this a channel and we're going to break below these lows and confirm this line? If you got into that higher low there, it triggered, just stopped you out. So in other words, that is not a strong move to go long. Because look how that's fitting there, and it's fitting along the bottom quite nice. So this is too early to get into a long, really, in my opinion. And there's just something about it I don't like. I think the simple answer is if you've got doubts and you're unsure, just leave it alone. It's the only way it works. And sure, sometimes you might go a few days. But what I found is sometimes if you try and make these trades up, well, it looks like it's going to do this, let's go for it. You ended up taking a $300 loss. So there's not a lot of setups around. So your next trade is more or less just going to get you break even. So you'd have been much better not taking the thing in the first place. And I know sometimes you're thinking, yeah, but I can't take 2 or 3 trades a week. You're much better to take 2 trades a week and have them both winners than take 4 trades a week and lose 2 of them. So just that extra patience is just going to save you way more losses. As soon as you take a loss, straight away, you're kind of playing catch up. It's not the best way to look at it. But your next trade is just going to get you back to where you were. So you're much better, if you're not sure, just to forget it. I zeroed out, took a big loss, wiped out my 250 gains. Yeah. Trouble is, the only answer, the only conclusion I can come to is if you're not sure, you're always better to stay out. There's no shame in not taking a trade for a day or 2 days or 3 days. One thing you guarantee, you're never going to lose a penny. And then when that good trade does come along, you jump in and grab hold of it and you make yourself some nice profit. You know, I trade 2 contracts, I go for 3 points. If I took 1 solid trade a week, that would give me about $1,300 over a calendar month. That's just from 4 trades. Now, let's say you lost the 5th. You've made $1,000. If you've got 10 Apex accounts and making $1,000 from each one, you've made $10,000. Who earns $10,000 a month? Nobody. Very few people. The average everyday Joe doesn't, especially from working 3 hours. Good mindset, agree if you're not sure, Edge. Yeah, it's not worth. How many times over the years when we're learning do we think, oh, sod it? You just jump in, you think it looks like it's going up. And the market is very clever at teasing. You know, I used to describe it as it's sucking in longsy or short. Same with that one. It's something about that. It's just got danger written all over it. There may be something down here. There's too many variables. The only way you pick on these variables is just over time with experience. But you're much better to not take a trade than take a loss. But it is easier said than done when you haven't been doing it that long. It does take time. It's taken me 4 years of trading to start to come to this mindset, which, you know, a lot of losses and a lot of blowing accounts, but it just goes to show I used to be the worst for patience. I thought I may not make it as a trader because of my lack of patience. That was my worst quality. Now I think it's one of my strongest, and it's weird how what you think you may struggle with is now kind of one of your strongest, your strongest assets. But it's so unclear, this. It really is. We kind of know we're working up, but are we going to work up from here or from here or from here? It's hard to say, really. Because there's still a lot of chopping up and down. Now, I'm not saying there's no trades here. When you get more experienced, like Matt mentioned the other day, it takes 6, 7, 8 years to be a doctor. It's no easier to be a doctor than it is a trader. It takes years of experience, but you'll get to the stage where you'll start making money, but you'll still get caught out from time to time, but that'll get less and less. But after a while you do get that I want to call it a sixth sense, but that feeling that something's not right. And the only way I can put that feeling down to is I've been in this scenario before and I've taken a trade and it's caught me out. So you build up all these pictures of these setups in your head, and when you come across a setup that you've been stung before, something doesn't feel right. Second entry short here. The trouble is, sometimes when you see the push up, the high low, it triggers and stops you out. The natural instinct then is to wait until it clears previous areas of liquidity, which is here. So for me, I would think come down, but I couldn't bring myself to taking a short so close to the bottom of a key entry point of an uptrend. Fellow Lance, since the beginning, you grow a lot as a trader. We all are. We're all growing as traders. It's just, you kind of just see me day by day. So, people have been around and watching my journey. Sometimes it's easier for other people to see it rather than yourself. But, I can't tell you enough how blowing accounts and losing money and does make you a better trader. It toughens you up against those emotions until you flat out refuse to do stupid things. There's no way I'm giving my money away. I'm not blowing that account. I've worked too hard for it. You get all that type of mindset to it. You refuse to give money away without a fight. So it's hard to know what it's going to do here. My gut instinct would be there's a semi-bullish bar there. I would like it to get below this area. And I'm usually right quite a lot of the time when it comes to picking liquidity. I'd like to clear this area before we push higher. Now, we may get a break here. That's another feeling I have. And the reason being is we got to the top of the channel and we pushed up and we hit about the same level. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did this. That may clear a lot of this out the way. I'm not saying we're going to, but when you just see things day by day, again and again and again, you just have a feeling that this is going to push down. Now, it might not. There may be a failure here and that may take off, but there's just something about this I don't want to get into. You get tricked enough times in these markets, you start to notice these areas where it's happened before and think, right, I've seen this scenario before and it never ended well, so I'm just going to sit tight. And when you do nothing and it triggers you and stops you out, or would have stopped you out, it's a nice feeling. You start to feel like I'm starting to get it now. See that ILO there? It's just got risk written all over that for me, but why? But clearly working up, you get a nice move up, a higher low. I talk about this type of thing. We push up, what do we call it? An up and across higher low. They're risky. Same again. Now there is a failure there. Maybe some shorts trapped there and there, but I'm still not ready to go long here because now it's congested. It's sideways. And we've got a little move down and sideways, and we see this all the time. It's like a mirror image, down, across, and down. It would take out that stop and clear any of this up the way, out the way, and then it could then maybe, there is a second entry long there, but same again, it's got risk written all over it. This is kind of floating off the bottom, so I think this is going to get stopped out. I'd at least like to see it hit this level and clear out any of these stops. And because of this sort of push down and a pullback, we may get a break. So I've got a few different scenarios and none of them are getting into a long trade here. It is just experience and gut feeling. I don't even think about counting. I can see it's a second entry long and it may work, but it's above the main, it's congested and we're off the bottom here, so it's got risk written all over it. Tell you what, these days seem to be flying. I can't believe we are Thursday already. It doesn't seem 2 minutes since we're at Monday. I can't believe it's Thursday already. It's congested now. See, it doesn't know what it wants to do, so even more reason to stay out. So my one payment within 1 day, well, within 8 hours, was approved and paid. So Apex are pretty quick at the moment. down, across and down. That's where I see this, which finishes that. Clears out any little bit of liquidity sat there. So that would take us down below here, below that, and below that. It's actually a little bit lower than that, but it's still below there. So that's where I see this coming. And unfortunately, it doesn't end well for that. There's no guarantees. It may hold. The reason I think we're struggling here, because we came off the tops and went up there and couldn't get up there. So for me, that may create a break of this bigger channel. Certainly enough to get it back into this bottom tier. So whether it, I'd like to see it break below this area. Whether it holds then and pushes up, I don't know. Poor old Sam's having a tough time at the moment. He's taking quite a lot of trades and getting caught out a few times. When I look at Sam, I feel like he's me 8 months ago, something like that. 6 to 10 months ago. You make some money, you get frustrated. You make a bit, you get a bit frustrated. Hey, Laufey, how you doing, pal? And he's getting stung a few times. And I think the reason being is markets are hard at the moment, and that's really when you got to call on those patients. But he'll get there, Sam. He's got staying power, and that's what you need. So there's a higher low there, which is triggered. Now, let's see what happens here. Let's see if this now comes flushing down or it pushes up. Depends how you've got this channel, see. If there's wicks here, wicks there, it's closing there. If there's more wicks there, the bottom of this channel will push up, and it may come into line with that. But it's just something is telling me to stay out of this. Look at that. We managed to get above this, and we've still dropped down within this channel. So just started today. Can I get a recap of what happened today? A recap of what? Well, for me, not a lot really. I haven't taken a trade today. It's not been that easy, to be fair. It comes up, move down now. I mean, we had a couple of little pushes up first thing, then we had that big drop, and ever since it's slowly working up, but it's difficult. So that's what I expected. So that's gone. That one triggered, and that's gone. That one for me is still there at the moment. But we have hit this line here, but I have a sneaking feeling here we may get a break of this channel. But it's risky as hell getting there. Yes, it's a second entry long, but we push down, we go across, we push down, we see it all the time, and it's off the bottom of this, so it's floating kind of in between the bottom of this line and that EMA. So for me, that's just risk written all over it. How much did it make? So depending on where you got into it, you'd have got a point and a quarter because it would have had to push through. I'm surprised it went that high, actually. But then it pushed up and immediately dropped. So that'll be next. That as well, I think, lightly. So it's actually touching really nice along this, and that to me looks like a leg. Couple of attempts to push high, which is why I think we may break this channel. If we do, that's going to be an absolute pain in the arse because it's such a big channel. It's probably going to mess around here for the next 2 hours before it eventually pushes up. So let's see if price stays out here. We have broken below there. Let's see if it snaps back. So it did what I expected it to do, which is why I stayed out of all this. It's picked off any liquidity that was sat there. Now, will it take some of this? I don't know. We have closed outside there, but my gut feeling is that's a leg, and I think we'll come down, which will take us down to this level here. That's unless it snaps back. Trouble is, if we do have a break, I'm guessing. Trouble is, from such a big move up, usually it does take the scenic route, which may mean a lot of that before it eventually pushes up. And I think sometimes these bigger trends, they take such a long time to push up. You can get caught half a dozen times thinking this is pushing up now for a new high before it actually eventually gets there. So that's the chart that Mac had. Depends how you look at this, see. You could kind of pick off multiple bits and pieces in there. You know, we've had a channel break new high, channel break new high. You know, kind of where you draw the line, but just the fact that we came off the highs and we got up to here twice and struggled tells me we're more likely to have a break. So I expect us to come down to this area here. And then I don't know where. I'd have fell second entry long. May have been taking it easy. Hindsight. Yeah, I mean, my gut feeling is telling me we're going to have a leg and a leg. But you just never know whether this hole, sometimes it will. You know, it's got close enough to the bottom. As I say, if there'd have been more wicks there, I could have moved that up to there. In which case, we bounce, we hold. There's a possibility it could have pushed up. But I haven't got wicks there. So when I bring it out, so that's the fine line we're trading, really. You know, we kind of know from chart to chart, can vary a little bit. And that just makes things, you know, kind of a lot more difficult. Okay, so there's them two legs. Now let's see if price holds here or it does something different. So if this is a channel, there's a bit of an overshoot. So it may hold from here, I don't know. But how long have we been trading for now? 2.5 hours. So I think I'm done for today, folks. Not been an easy day. Now I'm going up to college. We got to be at college in about 45 minutes. Show my daughter around for the evening. So I'm done for the day. So best of luck to you all. I hope you get a trade. I hope this sorts itself out. But failing that, have a great evening. Stay safe. Can't believe it's Friday tomorrow. and we'll catch up again tomorrow. Have a great evening, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.